All
right, now our guest today has done everything from producing and hosting on a YouTube channel with over 1 million subs, creating her own clothing brand, interviewing celebrities, and starting her own geek news outlet Geek Bomb. Please welcome to the show, everyone, the pun queen, Maude Garrett.
Yeah.
All right. Maude. I'm going to start doing a chant for all of our guests going into it.
Just you?
I mean, I would hope that you all join.
Okay.
Maude. Okay,
there's like one other person.
You can't hear it, Maude.
Oh, boy. Even Maude's like not even into it. Maude, how are you today?
So good. I am coming off the high that is seeing Endgame last night at the world premiere.
Ooh.
So, I mean, weird to start with that one because I actually want people to like me.
Sure.
And that's how to do it. But yeah, I've seen the movie already, and I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to tell you that I was emotional.
You were emotional. Oh,
man.
So
bad, guys.
I don't even watch movies, and I'm jealous of you for that because everyone is hyped for this movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be lots of expectations.
Yeah, I was going to say, so obviously no spoil. Go ahead.
How do you watch movies? Do you have to make a choice whether you either play video games or watch movies?
No,
And that's
actually, Maude, here's the thing.
I
I have a really poor attention span, and so whenever I pay for a movie, I end up just falling asleep. And so it's been like this for a few years. So yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, honestly. Usually I get that kind of reaction when I tell people. It's really sad.
Yeah, we saw Us the other week.
Oh yeah,
and you were
almost
fell asleep twice. Yeah,
it was a great movie. From
I
what
know.
I saw.
Oh, okay.
It's killing me. It's honestly killing me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I gotta ask some, Maude. Without any spoilers, do we go see Endgame?
100%. This really is like the end of an arc that lasted 22 movies, and it really does kind of like streamline and put it all together. And that's why you feel stuff. They do that on purpose. They want you to kind of celebrate the fact that we've invested so much of our lives into this story.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. Trust me, I've had death threats already. I'm whip.
Well, I appreciate the no spoilers thing, and I gotta say, it's cool that you mentioned that it was emotional because I think a lot of people are starting to get burnt out on the comic book movies. There's been there's so many branching off, but when the closer this movie got, at least for me, it was just like one of those things of like coming to grips with like, oh my God, we're nearing the end of this giant era of Marvel movies, and granted, there's going to be movies coming out after it, but
it's not stopping.
Yeah, this was kind of like their idea. This was like something that they incepted when the first Iron Man came out, when the first Hulk and Thor. So I think it's like really interesting to kind of see that story come to an end, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
That's why it's called End Game.
Yeah. Hey,
I think that's why they called it that.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, and obviously I'm not as invested in it, but I was like, I know why they called it End Game because it's the end. Yeah.
So
anyway, Maude.
You say the same joke again.
I just wanted to piggyback off of your great joke. I just suck. Anyway, no. For the two people in chat who may not know who you are, Maude, and shame on you.
I thought you were going to say two people in chat, period, and then end it. Sorry, go on.
Wow, self-deprecating.
I know.
We're just on a roll.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about yourself, Maude.
Well, hello there. My name's Maude. I'm the kind of person that I can't just have an idea. I have to do it. So that's why I'm starting my third company. But I started Geek Bomb in 2012 because in Australia, being a radio and television host meant that you had to be across the board, not have any niche kind of specialties. You had to be able to do it all. And so when I would talk about Star Wars and video games, I would be told, you can't talk about that because you won't get some of the 2 jobs that are available. So I started Geek Bomb as like an entity so I could, write nerdy game reviews. And since then it has expanded completely. I have a bunch of contributors that work for me. It's supposed to be for women by women talking about geeky stuff. So, of course, 80% of my audience are men. And, yeah, so that's one of them. And I've also launched a clothing line, which is a very 90s aesthetic. And
it's
geeky
awesome.
as well. Yeah, I do too much. I actually had a nap before we did this because I
I can relate. The naps. I take a nap every single day that I go home after this. I just take a nap. It's so rejuvenating. Love naps. Now I have 2 questions. Well, 2 points. One is a point. One is a question. Actually, I love the accent. I'm so jealous of Australian accents. I wish I could do one, but I can't. And
you can't do any accents. Everyone you try is mean. It's just it's not great. It's not even when you make fun of me coming from Minnesota. Shut up.
Anyway.
See, it's the same.
But the second point is, I guess I'm curious. Being from Australia, what was it like trying to break into the industry that a lot of times it's very focused on the U.S. What was that journey like?
I had to start again completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was hosting national radio television shows in Australia, and it was kind of like you just go straight to the top because there's so few jobs there. So to come here and realize that, like, I knew no one, anything that I'd done in the past was irrelevant. I had to prove myself all over again. So that was pretty tricky and difficult.
Wow.
But the best thing about it was having a niche and being a huge nerd and gamer and, you know, really being a part of that world. I could, instead of being told to shut up, I was getting paid to read Harry Potter and review Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. So it was a huge game changer for me.
That's awesome. I want to ask, because you mentioned it when you were in Australia. You were mentioning like you'd talk about Star Wars and some other nerdy culture things, and they were kind of like, hey, you know, cut that out. Like, as someone who's truly loves that world, how did that make you feel as someone who's trying to be a host?
Actually, it's probably a really good thing to learn what you can and can't talk about because, as we all see, and I think you just kind of joked about it just then with E3, you can say one thing and your career is over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
That notion of it, I appreciate. But of course, you know, when you're told to not do something, you want to do it 10 times more. And so I said goodbye to my entire family, packed my suitcase, and left.
That's amazing.
Ooh, there you go. I like that. That gets Malik snaps.
Yeah, that does. Absolutely.
Do what you love. You know, I just love that. Anyway, so let's switch over to gaming a bit. I'm curious, Maud, what was your earliest gaming memory?
I started gaming on MS-DOS.
Wow.
That dates me. I mean, it's so weird because I'm only 24, so how's it even possible? So, but yeah, no, I started there. My dad's a huge nerd, so he taught me video games, and like, it's when you have a nerdy and gaming family, you don't really grow out of it. So my brothers still play. It's a big thing that we all do. My dad clocked. He recently got all 1,000 pets in World of Warcraft. So. Whoa. Yeah, we're just a huge nerdy family. So that's where I started. Now I just have all consoles. I had to take nearly a decade off PC gaming because I chose Korea instead, and that you really do have to make a choice. And I like sleep too much. So
did you like, how much gaming do you get to do at this point? Because you're doing so much. Like, from a career perspective, I imagine it's tough.
It is. You really do have to like put time aside for it. Like, instead of date night, I will play video games. So yeah, they're my weeknights now, but it's my time to unwind, and that's what I love to do. And I'm still playing Overwatch after 4 years, and you know, I like killing things. I got through a breakup playing Shadow of Mordor.
Wow.
Slaying orcs was super therapeutic. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's actually really good. I love that. I think we've all worked through some stuff via video games.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of an outlet, you know?
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
A way to kind of go. Now let's talk about your passion, obviously, for so many things. You have passion for so many things. What was the journey like, I guess, getting from being passionate and loving what you do to actually getting to do all the things that you get to do now?
Okay. I think the thing is, it's like, trying to transition from hobby to career. And I think that that's like the number one thing a lot of people are trying to do. From what I've learned, especially with Geek Bomb, because I've hired about 25 different people over the course of the years, you really do understand the difference between saying you'll do something and actually doing something. And I think the real test is to translate passion and that hype and wanting to do it to actually putting your money where your mouth is and consistently doing it. So if you don't stop, you'll have a job.
That's awesome. I want to ask, because you know you've done so much and you found passion in so many things, and then you've just gone and done things in those industries. How was the transition to working on clothes? Because your clothing line is dope. Like, I love the look. It's very 90s. It's just so fun. I'm just curious what that process was like.
That was actually the whole company came about because it was based off a pun. I had a little merchandise line with Geek Bomb called Punderwear, and it was literally putting puns on clothes. And then someone was like, Punderwear sounds like it should be underwear. Anyway, that was nearly impossible to try and do. Pivoted completely and settled on doing some really, really cool sort of streetwear with swimwear and gym clothes. And it is, you know, everyone wears clothes every single day, and it is an extension of our personality. So if you can rock some really awesome things. And have you noticed that, like, with the geek culture, the way that we connect is like, oh my God, you like that? I like that. And you instantly become closer. This is broadcasting that.
Exactly.
So, totally see that.
Like, if I saw somebody on the other side of the road with like a big old cheeseburger on their shirt, I'm like, oh, okay. There you go.
What does that mean? Like,
that means they like cheeseburgers. And I'm like, I relate. In the video game sense. Now,
I do have a follow-up question before we dive into the next one.
Sure.
Thoughts Thoughts on our style? What's the improvements? Give us some advice. We ask everybody.
I'm wearing boots as well.
I mean, you guys look like you are definitely into professional esport games. Well done.
Yeah.
And
you got a nice jersey.
Look, you are doing like a varsity kind of jacket thing, so
right.
you're trying to be a jock. That's
Don't look.
better.
Yeah.
There you go. It's better.
Putting on the tie-dye TIE fighter apparel, and that's a sick little number that you could have gotten on What If You Got Ahead in Time.
Yeah, this has been discontinued, unfortunately. This is like one of the coolest sweatshirts I've ever seen. Malik, nice.
I'm going to bring it back for May the 4th, probably, for one day only.
That would make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, including Ethan.
Yeah.
Malik, if you could name the ships on that jacket, I will give you $100.
Put me on the spot, Ethan.
There's really only 2 of them, and you're looking at the the Rebels and the Empire.
So one's X-Fighter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So close. Oh, I know, Mod. I know.
X-Wing?
Yeah, X-Wing.
X-Wing. Okay, yes.
And
TIE Fighter?
TIE Fighter.
TIE Fighter, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
All right, give it up for Malik. I loved how unsure you were, like the nice little whisper. That was great.
Well, here's the thing. The funny part about me not watching movies, specifically Star Wars as well, my first game ever was Star Wars Shadow of the Empire on the N64.
Great game.
So I played that, and so I should be more versed. But
at least understanding of like the lore.
Mm-hmm.
So I also ask every guest this, Mod. Malik doesn't watch movies. I love movies. I love TV. I want Malik to get into it. I would love your top recommendation of a film or something that he could relate to, maybe a nerdier movie or something that you think would get Malik into films.
Well, my top 5 favorite films of all time have got to be Star Wars, the original trilogy, Willow, which was actually written by George Lucas, directed by Ron Howard. It's very high fantasy, but it basically is the best version of Val Kilmer you're ever going to see. You've also got Snatch, which is a very, very different movie, but it's Brad Pitt's best role. It's by Guy Ritchie, so that's a very, very different take as well if you want something a little bit refreshing. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, sticking with the 80s movies, is probably the best, one of the best written films of all time. I think that's a John Hughes one, so you understand.
It is, yes.
That genre. And The Fifth Element, which is,
I know about that one.
Super.
Haven't seen it, but I know about that one and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I know of those.
I know, you're killing her.
I know.
Yeah, John Hughes is one of my favorite directors. I love every John Hughes movie. I love 16 Candles. Did you ever see Breakfast Club, I think, John Hughes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Love those movies, man.
I have some homework to do.
You do.
Is what you're saying.
We can watch them together.
Okay, that's cool. Let's do it. If I fall asleep, let me sleep. Exactly. Now, this is actually a really cool question because for a lot of viewers, myself included, maybe their first time seeing you was on SourceFed Nerd, which is I was a huge fan of. Tell us a bit about that experience. Again, getting to start with Phil. What's that?
You won't watch movies, but you'll watch SourceFed.
Look, I'm a big YouTuber.
He's a huge YouTuber.
I love YouTube. Yeah. So this was a big thing for me.
So I totally forgot the question. Didn't hear the question.
No, I'm just curious as to what it was like to work on such an awesome team and that whole experience of working at SourceFed Nerd.
So for me, that was like my first step into digital media. So I kind of, did traditional media before, and it's like very, very different. I guess the best way to describe it, and I don't know if you guys can relate, but in television you have huge budgets to do, the one show. Whereas in digital media, you've got no budgets to do absolutely everything.
Yeah. So relatable.
It's about being super resourceful. It's about wearing a lot of hats. I became the manager of that channel after kind of like just sitting there and just watching how the game was being played for about 2 months. And then I was like, got it. Okay, here's how we shake things up. And, I apply what I've learned to this and we do great things. And yeah, I basically kissed my co-host on my last day because that's what everyone wanted.
Oh, there you go. Now, I just want to follow up real quick. So obviously SourceFed Nerd was a spinoff of SourceFed, and following in the footsteps of like Joe Beretta, Lee Newton, and all of those amazing people who came from SourceFed proper. What was that? Was there pressure in that, like coming into that situation?
No.
No pressure. I like that. That's a confident no.
Yeah, we get so nervous for this show.
I can't even speak today. It's great.
Same. So that's great to hear.
Nervous.
Yeah. Well, we do jumping jacks. We do a lot.
Yeah, I do tons of jumping jacks. And it's the heart rate going.
We've also I think recently we've had more guests on that are just very successful, like you and like Jessica Choba was on, and Michelle, and so I think it's been really stressful.
Yeah,
because we're like, just don't say something stupid.
Learn how to read the teleprompter.
Just read the teleprompter, you idiot.
It's not that hard.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you both.
Oh, thank you. That's what we were fishing for, actually. But I do want to say it's amazing how much you've done, like from hosting these shows and starting the clothing line and producing, and you wear so many hats, and at the age that you are, that blows my mind. Like, it's super impressive. Kudos to you to take something that you it's a hobby, gaming and nerd culture all up, and to just run with it. And like, how can I make this a career? How can I make this my life? I think a lot of people in chat, a lot of people in this industry, and a lot of gamers growing up are just like, I want to work in gaming. And I think you're a role model to people like that.
Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, I think people, like, they look at it and they go, this is what I love more than anything, so I want to work in it. And I think they kind of also don't realize that if you want it that bad, so do thousands of other people. So you have to figure out how to do the job better than them.
Yeah, it's honestly true.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, I want to be a full-time streamer. And it's like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's you know what I mean? Like, let's assess the financial investment as well as who you're competing with. Because to your point, there's thousands of other people that want the same job you do.
Yeah, and I find it's often a tough balancing act, because especially when you end up doing something you love, I think they always say, like, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
But you almost, like, put so much into it that it can be really heartbreaking if, like, your first attempt at it isn't successful. And, like, that's something that I found. What was some of the ways that you navigated that? Like, getting through doing something that you love and knowing that it requires you to potentially, you may fall out of love with it.
Great point. I actually recently noticed it big time with the latest Star Wars trailer release. I wasn't excited.
Wow.
That excitement for it and that hype, because like the trailer was hitting, and then I looked in my mentions on Twitter and I had so many people be like, have you had a breakdown, bro? What is your thought on this? Did you notice at 0.69 seconds? Oh, I didn't mean to say that number.
It's fine. It's fine.
Can you talk about this symbol, and can you, micro-analyze every particular detail about this thing? And it's like, can't we just enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have to pick everything apart all the time. And so having that expectation where I'm supposed to deliver for people, it makes it harder to enjoy. And also the comments are really, really hard. My biggest advice is you have to love yourself so much and really, really respect who you are as a person, because everything you don't like about yourself will be delivered to you personally, in your feed, in your comments, every single day.
That's phenomenal advice, Maud. That's why we just ridicule each other endlessly as friends, because I think it just helps.
100%.
Yeah.
I go in and read the comments a lot, and I think, to your point, like, I don't think I would be able to do it if I didn't, like, know those things before I read it and, like, really internalize them and just be, like, okay with it and okay to read it. But yeah, I think the great pieces of advice. Now let's move on a bit. Now, you've done a lot of interviewing of actors and celebrities. Any of those that particularly stand out as memorable?
My favorites ever, Charlize Theron is the best.
Oh, I bet.
She's like, I've interviewed her about 3 times, and every single time she's delivered in a new way. But I'm actually getting more and more nervous each time with her. She'll look at me, and I'm just like, I forget the ability to speak. So I totally relate to you guys. I understand it. But yeah, Charlize, she does that one.
Well, she is just, she is a huge celebrity. I mean, she has been in so much. I can completely, I completely get that. I can't, it makes me feel better that you get nervous.
That's like the only one. That and Hanson. I saw Hanson walk down a red carpet and I turned giddy all of a sudden. The band?
Like the band?
What's happening to me? Why am I flustered? And it's just like, yeah. But like, Angelina Jolie, I'm like, sup, how's it going? All of that kind of stuff's absolutely fine. The best interview as well, the most genuine interview guaranteed every single time, Hugh Jackman.
Oh, see,
I've heard
I can tell that, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, our executive producer ran into him in an elevator and said he was like the most nice and genuine guy in the like 2 minutes that he talked to him.
Yep, he is up the top, one of the best guys. And I've also heard that like Chris Pratt would, when you do the junkets and you have like those back-to-back interviews and we only get 4 minutes on a good day to chat with them, Chris Pratt will buy the crew slabs of beer as a thank you because, they've got to go through it. So hearing those sort of stories where it's like, when celebrities don't have to do something, but they go above and beyond just to kind of be a decent person, it's lovely. Because a lot of the times, it's not even the A-listers, it's the B-listers who are like...
Yeah, sure. I actually honestly could see that. And Chris Pratt's an anomaly because he just skyrocketed to action movie hero status, like the amount of money he was making and stuff just skyrocketed over the course of like a year. He was just landing all these jobs. And so I think someone like that who's been, and if I remember correctly, before he started Parks and he was sleeping in his car before Parks and Rec and like all this stuff. Super humbling. I'm sure that he's just such a down to earth guy for reasons like that because he's seen the other side of it. It's super interesting. Is there anyone you wish you wanted, like that you haven't interviewed that you're like, I would kill my producer to interview?
I've still never interviewed Leonardo DiCaprio. At this stage, I don't know if it's like something that I want to do, but out of like the top A-listers, that's just one I haven't done yet. So yeah, probably, and George Clooney. I think they're like the only two that I haven't ever spoken to. But at this stage, yeah, there's probably more people that I have interviewed than haven't.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's impressive.
That's amazing. God, I don't know if I could even talk to George Clooney. He is way too handsome.
I could do it.
You could do it?
I could do it. Exactly. Now, Maude, we talked about the number of projects that you're working on. One of them being a D&D series called Fungins and Flagons. Now, we're super excited. Can you tell us a bit about what we can expect from that?
Yes, I can. So I'm obsessed with Dungeons and Dragons, and I remember, like, I grew up on the 80s cartoon series. I'm obsessed with RPGs. I love that exploration. And the first time I sat down to play D&D, I created this ranger character, and he's like, all right, my DM, all right, Maude, it's your turn. What are you going to do? And I'm like, right, I'm going to backflip up that tree. I'm going to skip over. I'm going to get 3 arrows, and I'm going to shoot every single hobgoblin through the heart. And he goes, you can probably walk to the tree. But I'm the best ranger. I wrote like 17 pages of backstory. Like my character wouldn't just walk, and he had to kind of like explain that I only really had 6 seconds of combat. So I created a series where if you can dream it and you roll high enough, you can do it. Oh. But the effect is the better and more significant your action is, and you don't roll high, the more of a negative consequence you'll get when you fail.
I love that.
So if you want to run up the trees and fire 17 arrows, you can, but if you roll a 1, you are going to basically fall over into your quiver, snap every arrow into your eyeballs.
Oh, wow.
I love that. I think D&D, I'm a big fan of D&D myself. I've been playing for years now, and we just started doing a show here on Mixer like twice a month or something, and it's been a blast. But one of the things that we struggle with, or just that we talk about all the time, is like, how do you keep it interesting? Because obviously D&D, if you play by the books all the time, it's not the most exciting thing for people to watch. And
4 hours. I mean, I've played the game for 7 hours at a time as well. It's a very, very slow-moving game because you are really only doing things 6 seconds at a time.
Right.
And it can take some people half an hour to make up their mind on what they want to do.
Seriously,
so my episodes are between 30 and 45 minutes usually, and we get as much done as possible in that time. Yeah. So I think the best way to keep it interesting is having improv and allowing things to exist instead of being confined by rules, because who needs rules?
Yeah.
Gross.
That's what I say.
Have a great time. Who needs rules?
Who needs rules?
Okay, simmer down. All right, we got a boss.
We need rules.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
All right, I want to let you ask this next one because it's kind of in your alley.
I love it. Okay, so Maude, we are actually doing a bracketed sort of tournament to find out the best first-person shooter of all time, and we're down to our final 4. We have Borderlands 2, OG Doom, Halo 2, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm very curious if you could pick the best, if you could pick the winner, which one would it be?
So I played all of these games. I'm super disappointed that it's Halo 2 and not Halo 3.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
See, Maude is my best friend now.
You know, Maude, you're successful. You've done a lot. You're absolutely wrong.
Oh, wow.
Halo 3 multiplayer is some of the best gameplay experiences I've ever had, especially in Link Up. It is the better multiplayer game. In saying that, you played Doom Land. That experience alone, you didn't actually play through Doom. So the multiplayer side of it all, you would use the cheats straight away. You would get unlimited bullets, you would unlock all the weapons, you would walk to the last stage, and then you would just sit there shredding through monsters. Oh, yeah. You know that level with the huge goat's head, the demon, the demonic sign?
We talking about the OG Doom? Are we talking about the OG? Yes. Yeah,
1994.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember that level. I love that game.
Yeah, and that's the only way you would play that game.
Yeah, it was hard. It was, cheats were the way to go. And especially back in the 90s, like, back when you had to actually enter a code, it wasn't like... I don't know. It's different these days.
Yeah, you play God mode.
Yeah.
I don't really care for Modern Warfare. So, but Borderlands 2, I finished that game in one sitting.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah. I did a 24-hour live stream back in 2012, and played the whole game. So I'm a little bit patchy on some things, but I really, really loved the look of the game, the teamwork involved, the weapon schematics, and like cycling through, building your own weapons like that. So I don't know whether to go OG or Borderlands 2. I'm stuck there.
That's interesting. Yeah, one iconic for shooters, like the second first-person shooter ever made, right? I believe, versus one of the most iconic multiplayer co-op experiences. Ooh, it's a tough one.
I know. That's where I'm at with it all. I mean, I just think, for me, I was only really playing one stage in Doom, and the whole game was, I'm going to go Borderlands 2.
There we go.
Right. That's fair enough. Borderlands 2, folks.
Mod's prediction. We're going to need their help to choose. Because we want to know what the chat thinks, and so maybe it might be Borderlands.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Again, that's our next segment. You guys are going to get to vote and choose, and you're going to see if Mod's right or we are. We're going to have to pick our own as well.
I still think Halo 3 should be on it. I'm so glad that Mod said that. I just could cry right now.
It's fine. It's fine.
You should, but you know.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
fine.
have no soul. So.
No, dude. I don't know. Mine. I was all BioShock was on that list. I was hoping BioShock would take it all the way to the finals. So I'm a little disappointed. I've lost touch. It's like when your team loses in the first round of like March Madness or anything. You're like, well, whatever.
BioShock over BioShock Infinite.
BioShock 1. Infinite's amazing too. But I don't know. You think Infinite's better than 1?
100%.
100%. Why?
I don't do horror themes very well.
Oh, okay.
And I really, really liked the end of Infinite, where it just was just like that moment.
Oh my God, amazing! Yeah, you're absolutely right.
My blanket after I finished the game because I just needed a moment to process it all.
Oh my gosh, I love that you said that because like honestly, the end of Infinite was incredible, so good. And frankly, the beginning, like the first time you see Columbia, I was like, oh my God, it's incredible. It's a moment. And there's go ahead. The
type of weapons and the type of magic, like summoning like the crows, just like all the looks of it all, like that steampunk. I really dug it.
Yeah, it was neat. And also, God Only Knows playing when you land by a quartet, which is a Beach Boys song, but then they had like a string or a cappella quartet singing it as you walk into Columbia. It was so awesome. Oh, this is a great game. Nice. Okay, I'm a little swayed. Whatever. It's fine.
There you go. Got him. So Mod, before we let you go, I'm curious, what's next for Mod? You have so many things going for you right now, so many things you're working on. What do you have in the pipes that we can look forward to?
That's a great question. So I think really like what I do with Geek Bomb, it all really does depend on Patreon. So the like where technology and where digital media is going, having it fan funded has opened so many doors from what we can do. But it is a constant slog to kind of like ask people for their money. So that's an interesting one. So Geek Bomb's getting bigger and better every single day. I'm at the moment doing 90-second recaps of Game of Thrones. So I do the entire show, and it's a little bit sassy. It's very Australianized, so I do those at the moment.
Nice.
And I did full 7-season recaps in under 10 minutes as well.
Oh my God.
If anyone needs like a previous refresher before we hit this season. But I'm more excited about Game of Thrones than I was Endgame. And that Game of Thrones is like, it's my new favorite child.
Yeah, well, what a big week for you then with Endgame and Episode 3, which everybody knows Episode 3 is going to be a big one. The longest, I think. Well, I don't want to spoil it. They're talking from a production standpoint. They were talking about a bunch of like the how they filmed it and length, like runtime for some of the action that's going to take place. It's gonna be great.
This next episode, I think, is going to be around 90 minutes.
Oh my God, it's gonna be sick, man. It's gonna be sick.
Which is like a movie. So Malik, that means you can watch a TV show, and it's technically like watching a movie.
You don't.
Baby steps.
So I'll watch your recap. I'll watch your recap to get caught up, and then I'll dive in, and we'll all be on the same page, and I'll be just as cool as you all. No? Okay.
Fine. That's really cool. 10 minutes. That's amazing. I gotta say, that blows my mind. Where can people watch that?
That's on youtube.com/geekbomb, or if you just look up Geek Bomb, but you guys have to say it because I have an accent and people keep looking up
Geek Bomb.
There you go. Maybe get that YouTube link in chat at some point. Now, Mod, also before you go, we want to make sure that people know where to follow you on all the social media, so be sure to let everyone know.
Oh, I'm just at Maud Garrett on everything. MAUDEGARRETT. That is how you spell Garrett. And so I'm on all of those good things. And if you're nice to me, I'll be nice back. Yay.
Awesome. Mod, thank you so much for your time and for putting up with us. Let's give it up for
Garrett.
Please be sure to go give Mod a follow on Twitter